Today's trading session was a great example that you can wait around all day and all it takes is one good trade to make the morning session. So please sit back and relax as we go over the couple trades that I took and talk about the markets. Happy Tuesday. Coming off a holiday yesterday. Yesterday was Labor Day here in the United States. So quickly looking at everything, you can see here that we are still kind of hanging out at that level on the Nasdaq. Yesterday, kind of pushed into it. It's a holiday. I'm not going to take a whole lot of concern to this candle, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, we'll see what happens right around where we're at right now. I think it's a pretty important spot in my opinion. Other thing to quickly note is we do have PMI coming out at 9 o'clock, which will most likely give us some good moves, or maybe not necessarily good moves, but we're going to have volatility. So we still got some stuff to the downside here in the 15s. So the ES was just kind of nuking to the downside off of all those orders. Just because you see orders here does not mean it's going to act as support, as we've been seeing. I think a lot of people think that when they're first starting to look at the dome, like, oh my gosh, there's 200 here. It's going to bounce off of that. A lot of times we flush through it. So just something to keep an eye out on if you are starting to experiment with looking at the dome and you're starting to look at some of those quote unquote magnet orders that we talk about here. There's probably a legit name, but and I call them block orders or magnets. So as you're experimenting with this, just know that a lot of times when it does get to that level, it flushes through at least a few ticks. Hopefully it helps. Okay, news is out. Obviously volatility is going. Let's see what it came in at. It beat. Recently, anything that's been beating has been yanking the market to the downside. Anything that's been bad has been pushing it up. So we'll see what actually happens here. I actually kind of like the potential longs here. We just barely swept the lows. I'm gonna take it. I want to see the front running value area low here a little bit. Basically, them flipping this candle green, popping 80, and then quick push into 90s is what I want to see happen. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Obviously, I got to keep it pretty tight. Obviously, we got smacked on that news. They rotated it down pretty hard, so I wouldn't be shocked to see a little bit rotation to the upside out of it. Down about 10 points right now. The NAS now making new lows with the ES making new lows. That was a quick other 10-point flush. We'll see how this candle closes out. We got 2 minutes left to see what's going on here. If we close this candle back into the 60s, that's a lot of excess, and I think we make the run. If we fail to close, if we push up into 50 and fail to kind of get back above, gonna have to kill it. Trying to push now back into the range on the NASDAQ. Trying to flip green. This is basically what we were just talking about. If they can get back into the range, we'll hold on to this trade, which is where they're at. 30 seconds left on this candle. And now it kind of looks, I mean, this is potential to look kind of rippy, to be honest. This is a pretty good example, though, of why I wait till candle closes on stuff like that. If we do have a pretty clean break, unless it's just crazy heavy, which this wasn't, it pretty much bounced pretty quickly. I just want to wait till the end of the 5-minute candle to see what happens. And a lot of times that last minute, you get that crazy close like we saw here and here on the ES. Now we just need to break. We need to break all the highs, and we are struggling to do that. I'm just trying to be patient, but I don't know how long I want to be patient for. Just giving it a little bit more time here. See if it can pop it, because it's trying. I'm out. Like the break even there. I'll either re-add or this will rip or whatever, but this is kind of getting spooky to me on a downward move like this when we're kind of failing the multiple pops like that. The move is clearly to the downside, right? So I'm obviously going counter trend by that trade. So am I going to live and die by that trade? Absolutely not. I think that the pops are there and we're at a spot where it makes sense to pop up a little bit and being yeah, there's the move. So there it is. That's what we were wanting to see. I was obviously looking for 90. So as soon as 90 hits, there we go. I would have gotten out of that trade right at 90. Got some buyers stepping up though. Bottom of this little range at the 30s. But the ES is right at the top of the range. I hate this is where it's okay, so the ES is at a spot where it looks like it's gonna roll over. NAS has some buyers. Does it bounce off of this or not? I'm gonna participate in this. I like the way Delta looks. I like where we're sitting on volume. I'm putting my stop in. I'm not down to watch this thing melt to the downside on any sort of quick sweep. Just not in the mood today with this current time of day it is and all that. So we'll see if we can get the quick push. Buyers look good. Got 10 seconds left on this candle to see if we can continue some movement to the upside. Either way, it's basically a free trade at this point.
We just got a cat. I wanted to name it Billy Nuts Cat, but my wife said no. Sleepy face.
Hell yeah. All right, that trade. Wow. Couple things. Lots of things, actually. First off, Zach of all trades just got a cat. Congratulations. You wanted to name her Billy Nas Cat. That's the best cat name there ever is. If you didn't know, I have a cat named Billy Nas Cat as well. For all those who are watching, nice buyers pushing through. Looks like we could have held to VWAP. That's okay. I'm happy with that trade. Honestly, that was a great trade for me, especially given the fact that I was one tick away from being stopped out. My luck never happens that way, ever. I am not lucky like that. And the fact that, one, I put a stop in profit. Well, basically it's break even. But I put a stop in to where I wanted a risk-free trade. Two, price comes within a tick of it. And then rips to fill my entry or to fill my exit. And honestly, it ripped another like 30 points out of it, which is handy dandy. Great for you if you held that into the VWAP. Well done. It looks like we're going to rip all day. But I never, ever, ever get away with one tick away from my stop. I always hits it. Always. And then it rips. It always hits my tick to the... It always hits my stop to the tick and then rips. Today's different, baby.